Hello guys, welcome back to Carnivore Team GB live Q&A session number 8, where all of your favourite, apparently, UK carnivore influencers will be all in one place, under one roof, or one cloud, so to speak. I just want to first and foremost invite and welcome Michael Mason to the chat. Who's actually at the Public Health Collaboration in Sheffield in the UK. I didn't get a chance to speak to him meeting properly because this is basically the first time myself and a lot of others have actually spoken to him. But we noticed he's got a massive following on Instagram, and he is a coach, I believe. He's very much into fitness, so quite similar to me and Richard, perhaps, in some kind of extent. Anyway, Michael, if you want to spend a few minutes introducing who you are, how you come to the carnivore diet, that'd be pretty cool.
Well, Michael Mason. I'm 60 minus 2 weeks, 60 in 2 weeks' time. I'm a coach, pretty much coach an awful lot of things. Ski coach, strength and conditioning, martial arts. Worked as a bodyguard for a number of years, and in terms of coming into the carnivore diet, I've been pretty much eating this way, a high protein animal based diet for more than 30 years. So I never really got into it was just an evolving, let's say, a new nutritional experience. So I never really got into doing something else, and then I became a carnivore, if that makes sense.
Yeah, nice one. That makes perfect sense. We've all come here from different backgrounds, different stories, different reasons. We all have very, very different expertise, which is quite interesting. We do lack one gender in this chat, this platform, which is unfortunate, but we're able to get a few more on this. So if anyone in the chat who knows any females that are willing to come on, that'd be very welcome. We are looking to get on Dr. Rachel Brown again at some point, perhaps Dr. Sarah Pugh, and perhaps Olivia. I won't butcher her name, but I think it's Olivia Quauger. Apologies if I got it wrong, but there's some people that we're going to probably get on in the near future as well. And anyway, for now, if anyone's wondering why you can't understand me very well, it's because I'm quite ill, but I'm well enough to talk just about, so I'm going to continue to persist and go through and answer you guys' questions. I think Coach Stephen today will be pressing the buttons. He's a lot better at it than I am. I can't read the screen for the most part, so that helps a little bit. There's a big nerve for saying hit the like button. Excellent. If you have not yet done that, please do it. This is being broadcasted onto all of our platforms. I believe, yes, it is. So just check out everyone else's. Hit like, leave a comment below their ones as well. Actually, before we get to the questions, I wanted to invite Phil and Ben just to talk about their upcoming, I wouldn't say project, but upcoming talk, seminar, presentation, conference, exhibition in the next month or so. So if Ben, if you want to lead and talk about that.
Yeah, 20th, Saturday the 20th of January, so it's in just under 3 weeks' time. We've got a get-together we're calling War on Health. So it's a one-day conference, and Phil and I are going to be speaking there. Dr. Sarah Pugh, Dr. Rachel Brown, Dr. Ahmed Malik is going to be there as well, and Dr. Natasha Campbell-McBride will be joining us via video link from wherever she is. So yeah, one-day event, should be a lot of fun, and it's in the beautiful Peak District as well. So yeah, not far from me. Might be jolly cold, but that's not going to hurt you too much. So yeah, and by the way, it's not streamed, it's not recorded, it's not going to be online, it's not going to be anywhere. It's just for people who are in the room. Okay, so what's the subject? We're going to be looking at why the so-called healthcare system may be set up, let's say, not in the interests of healthcare, but more importantly, what can we do about it? So we want people to go away from that day with some very, very real practical advice that they can put into action the following day to help themselves and their families. And we're going to have a carnivore lunch and a carnivore banquet after the event as well. There's also a pre-event dinner the night before, which is also carnivore at a local pub. But there's only 6 places or so left on that. So if you want to know more, type in waronhealth.uk into your browser, and or there you go. Yeah. Jonathan's put the link on there as well. That will also go to the same place. Did I miss anything, Phil?
No, I don't think so. First of all, hi, Michael. Nice to meet you. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's so nice to do something actually in person. You know, these online things are wonderful, but you know, after all the nonsense we've been put through, it's nice to actually get together in person and meet people. But I'm looking forward so much to the speakers and meeting them. I've actually not met them in person yet, any of them, apart from Ben. And I think it's going to be great. There's you know, Sarah, I know, is talking on deuterium and stuff. I'm sure Rachel will do stuff on the mental health side of it, and our good friend Ahmad Malik will be talking about all the horrible things that have happened to him in the NHS after he spoke out against all the nonsense. And he's got in all sorts of terrible trouble and been attacked for it by his fellow doctors and God knows who, accusing him of all sorts of things. But just a guy with great integrity. So, yeah, it's going to be good. And the after hours things are always nice. You know, they're probably the nicest bits of it, isn't it? Just hanging out and talking to people. But yeah, get booked up and come and see us. And Jonathan's doing something else that day, which is a shame. But I hope that Stephen and Richard will come along, and that'll be ace. And honestly, we wanted them as speakers, and they completely rudely ignored my message. No, they missed it, but we'll do something else at Easter. But come and hang out with them as well, so we'll all be there.
Nice one, well said. For anyone who doesn't know, the link was just on the screen earlier, so that is thebigfatchallenge.com/events. You can find this event, and there's another event happening on October, so I recommend checking that one out as well. What else is there to say? I think we've got a question, actually. Before we get to that,
we're doing a preview, like a preview of it with Stephen on Thursday, 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's it. Check that one out.
Thank you so much for doing that, Stephen. So yeah, live Q&A on Stephen's channel. Thursday, 6 p.m. UK time. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be really good. The links, by the way, that we're putting on the screen will be also live in the description of this at the end of this broadcast. And also, you know, once we do the replay, the links you don't have to write down. They'll be in the description. So it's going to be really easy to book on, really easy. And yeah, if you've got further questions, because we've got Michael here today, if you've got further questions about this event, then you can come on Thursday night on my channel and speak to Phil and Ben and give them lots of abuse, ask them lots of questions, put them on the spot. And yeah, so that I'm looking forward to that as well. So yeah, there is a question. I don't know if Michael wants to field it, the first question, but I'll put it on the screen. And I think he might want to. I know Richard will be chomping at the bit. Michael doesn't know Richard, but Richard runs Keto Pro, which is a supplement supplier, and he designs all the supplements. And boy, does he know his science. But anyway, Andy 828, are EAAs a useful supplement to enhance muscle protein synthesis, or are they just a marketing gimmick? Essential amino acids for people that don't know what that stands for. So do you want to have a go at that one, Michael?
Well, I can talk from just my experience, specifically if you're eating I don't take anything, so I get enough from the amount of meat that I eat. I eat a high protein carnivore diet. So if, let's say, your diet isn't as it's not optimal, then it may be that there's a place for some of these supplements. But for me, I don't take anything. The only thing that I do take, but I forget to take it, is that I will take creatine every now and then. But I sort of forget to take it, and I just think that eating enough meat for me works very, very well.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah, well said. What about you, Richard?
Yeah, if you are devoid of animal proteins within your diet, I mean, the essential amino acids, they are indeed what they say. They are essential, but these are easily obtained from diet. Out of the essentials, we've got leucine, which is 10 times more anabolic. We need this to activate mTOR. We can activate mTOR directly with leucine. This is why we do not need carbohydrate. And to elicit this response through IGF-1, we can do it direct through leucine. This is why adequate protein is enough to elicit that response and build muscle or increase muscle protein synthesis. Carbohydrate does not increase muscle protein synthesis at all, zero, contrary to popular belief. And I agree with Mike completely. It's if you are living a ketogenic carnivore lifestyle, heavily based from animal proteins, everything that you need, not just to survive, but thrive, is found naturally within your diet. Snap with the creatine, that's the only thing that I supplement with outside of like the electrolytes and things that I use. Leucine, if you were going to supplement with any, would be the one that I would suggest to supplement. That there is an argument there that we could supplement with leucine to further increase, but optimal activation is around 3 grams of leucine, and this is easily obtained through diet. So if you are struggling to elicit that response through diet, then leucine over the other essentials, I think, would be prioritized. HMB is the metabolite of leucine. There's strong evidence to suggest that may be more beneficial, but there's, for every research paper to suggest that could elicit that response, there's just as many to say that leucine is better. So eat your protein and save your money.
You see, now that's brilliant, because that's a guy that sells supplements. So Richard is a very honest guy. I'm going to play devil's advocate, because there are some people coming to this way of eating 30 years, low calorie, calorie restricted, low fat, vegan, vegetarian, who are absolutely devoid of any nutrients, maybe for 30 years. And things like collagen, I think, they could have a place. Creatine is definitely one. And I don't think necessarily just for people that are training. I feel that they are a good bridge for people that are starting, and maybe they haven't got the right hunger cues. They're not adapted. They're not used to eating this amount of meat, for instance. So I think there is a place for supplements. I mean, even things like I say, like collagen, for instance. If you take collagen, I'm just talking from people that I've coached, they've seen huge improvements in like joint pain and stuff like that. So I understand why people ask about supplements, and I do think there will be people watching and think, well, yeah, but I took X, Y, Z, and it really helped me. So we're not saying that they're rubbish, but what we're saying is, if you eat enough, once you start getting adapted and you're eating to satiety and you're eating really good quality nutrients, which is what the body has evolved to eat, it will thank you for it, and you won't need to supplement. And if you flip it over, whenever you see a vegetarian or vegan saying, I've got the perfect diet, and they pan around their kitchen, there are supplements, because they have to. B12 is obviously one that jumps out as one that you have to supplement with for a vegan or vegetarian diet. So anyway, right. Jonathan asked me to sort of host, but Jonathan, if you want to do all this, it's fine. I'm not trying to jump on your toes. I am spotting that you're starring the questions. And here's Ben. Thank you for the super chat. I think it's gone to Jonathan's channel, which is great, because he's the guy behind this. This might actually, this might again be Michael Street. What tips, tricks, hacks do you use for cutting?
Oh, I think you muted, Mike. Oh, yeah.
No, he's unmuted.
Well, I'm not a bodybuilder, coach. But if it's a simple sort of mathematical equation. If you want to lose, let's call it weight, then you need to eat less than you're ingesting. So if you want to, let's say, cut, keep up the protein, cut out the crap, move more in a more sort of focus, in a focused way. And if you're doing bodybuilding stuff, you will be, but it's as simple, it's as simple as that. You've got to end up taking in less than you're using. I mean, I haven't found or haven't seen anyone coming up with, yeah, you can cut by eating more than you're expelling. So again, it's the same thing. And I'm speaking, from someone who's, I'm, 60. I can still maintain muscle. I can still drop if I have to, if that's my focus. But for me, like, the focus is just maintaining a high protein consumption, every day. Don't eat the crap, and you won't put crap on. I mean, the trouble is that some of these answers are too simple. People want something really, really extravagant, magical, and complicated. And the more complicated it is, the more expensive it is. And it's just comes down to sort of like basic, simple mathematics and eat less, move more. And I don't, and again, I can get into trouble, with that. But if it's a specific thing, like as the question was, cutting in a bodybuilding competition type sense, then ask all the bodybuilders out there, and they will tell you, this, and they seem to know what to do. They may be taking other things as well. But that's another question.
Jonathan? Yeah, that is another question. Jonathan, Rich, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I'll just say, like, I agree with what Michael said. Like, you have to find out what your baseline is of food intake, then find a way to deduct from that. The problem is, I'm sure he knows and everyone else here knows, is that your metabolism is adaptive. It's not always that you're going to be oxidizing this much fat, this much protein, this much carbs each day. It's going to be all over the shop. So I'm a bigger fan or proponent, shall I say, of just cutting back on body fat slower. A lot of people, if they're very fat in particular, they'll release a lot of toxins as they drop so much fat over a period of time. So I'm actually more of a fan of just doing it slow and steady. I think there's actually instances within a fat loss phase where someone can actually increase the food intake for maybe 2-3 days. Helps to reset leptin levels and helps to do things which make your thyroid work a bit faster, which is good news. And the studies we do have seem to suggest that having some kind of mini cut between a fat loss phase, if it's a long one, is particularly advantageous. What Michael said as well, which is great, is about the protein intake, keep that high. You're better off having higher protein than a higher carb diet, obviously. The protein will do more for your body, for example, than fat. Chances are, if you're trying to lose fat, your body has some fat on it left to lose. So you're not going to want to miss out on protein, which is keeping your metabolic rate and your muscle mass level high. I won't expand too much now. I'll leave Richard some time to say something. So if Richard wants to say anything.
I think you guys have covered most of it, to be honest. I mean, a lot of people come back to calories, a swear word within our community. Calories don't really exist in the context that we believe them, but energy does. But we've got no way of measuring that energy outside of a caloric value. Now, when we look at a standard diet, the biggest lever to pull would be the carbohydrate, because the intake of carbohydrate, the caloric value goes out the window, because the second we consume carbs, that upregulates lipoprotein lipase, that breaks the bonds on the glycerol backbone and sends fatty acids into the fat cell. And it also puts a lock on hormone-sensitive lipase, our body's enzyme that allows us to burn fat, irrespective of caloric value. So the worst thing you can do if you want to lose body fat is to consume carbohydrate. Carbohydrate releases insulin. Insulin tells the body to store fat, and it puts this biological lock on our fat stores, making it impossible to burn body fat, regardless of what you were doing. So the worst thing that you can do is consume carbs before going for a run, for example. So what some people think is, I'll take in some energy in order to burn fat. You're not burning fat if insulin is elevated. So that would be priority number one, which a lot of us are doing anyway. For the keto community, people who are still consuming lots of veg may be consuming lots of lectins. Now, the thing with lectins in the form of wheat germ agglutinin and phytohemagglutinin is it binds to insulin receptors, and that will signal the body to store 5 times more fat than the effect of insulin does itself. So irrespective of caloric value, your body's going to be storing 5 times more fat. So to put that into perspective, if you were to consume bacon and eggs for breakfast that contained 500 calories, or a bowl of muesli that contained 500, the bowl of muesli is in effect telling the body to store 5 times more fat than the energy value from the bacon and eggs. So there's levers to pull there. Increase in protein increases the thermic effect. It takes 25 to 35% of the energy value in order to burn and process protein compared to 5 to 10 for carbs and fats. 5 to 10 for fats. So increase in protein is fantastic. But when you eat the same food every day, as I tend to do, or at least the same foods, as the guy said there, when you start reducing the amount of food that you intake, the body will preference stored body fat. So the lever to pull there is dietary fat. Reduce dietary fat and the body will upregulate body fat oxidation. That will allow you to cut. That's how I used to cut for comps. Keep protein high, reduce body fat. I hate the term calorie, but we'll go with energy. But again, it's not purely down to the energy as we perceive it from that caloric model, because of the effect of insulin, because of the thermic effect of food, and because of the effects of lectin. So there's lots of levers to pull. But yeah, it is as simple as that ultimately. Reduce body fat. The less you put in, the more that the body fat's going to take from stored body fat.
Yeah, I think Sean.
Quickly, Stephen, sorry, with a bit of a lateral.
Yeah, of course.
The guys have covered all the food side of things, but cold thermogenesis, cold baths, cold showers, it kind of shrink wraps you, and it really burns a lot of fat. I was amazed the first time I tried it over a winter. I think it was 2011, 2012. And I had a little bit of fat, not much left, because I'd gone off all my silly vegetarian diet and got pretty much keto. But then it dropped another stone, 14 pounds or whatever, just getting in cold baths. And I hadn't changed my diet, and I wasn't doing any exercise because I was pretty crippled with rheumatoid arthritis at the time. And I was amazed that was my first set of abs that I ever saw, even though I used to run a gym and ride mountain bikes and write for mountain bike mags and things like that. I never got lean with all that exercise because I was eating so many carbs. But cold thermogenesis, give it a go if you want to burn that last bit of fat. It's quite amazing.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant advice, and that's the thing. I mean, basically, what your body is doing is using ATP to warm you up rather than move you. So it's just a different way, isn't it, of liberating fat? Anyway, right, let's do one where we can all answer, because Matthew, who I'm going to tell off actually, because he was supposed to turn up at the Mighty Networks thing yesterday at 5 p.m. Told me he was looking forward to it. He didn't turn up. Anyway, Matthew, you missed the good one, but I'll let you off because you're such a great bloke and you've got a really good question. Happy New Year, everyone. And this is for the whole panel. And we'll start with Michael because he's the guest. And what are your personal goals? So this is to everybody. What are your personal goals for 2024?
I don't really have any goals. I'm a very much a live in the day type of person, and what I mean by that is that every day I try to be the best that I can be, not just in a physical way, but the whole sort of spectrum of being a human. So that I suppose that's a daily goal. In terms of what I'm doing business wise in launching a beef jerky business, I have my carnivore retreats, which are growing. I don't have any personal goals as such, other than to be the best I can be on a daily basis. And I hope that sort of is not sort of trying to sort of not answer the question, but I don't have any sort of goals to, or want to do this and I want to do that. In terms of, let's say, in terms of a physical goal, in terms of a mental goal, that gets back down to sort of living the best I can do today with whatever life throws at me during that day. And And I suppose the reason why I say that is, you know, one, it's how I live, but particularly, you know, this time of year when people have made resolutions, they've made resolutions on December the 31st. Oh, I'm going to do this January the 1st. Yeah, I'm ready. They haven't even made it till January the 2nd, you know, and because it's all of a sudden I've got this goal, you know, and most people don't, you know, in terms of like resolutions and things, you know, 92 or whatever percentage is really high, don't make it. So I just have this attitude of just being and doing the best I can, you know, consistently polishing diamond. And you can take that however you want, but I mean, it's just, you know, knocking away each day.
Yeah, brilliant, Michael. I get that. Being better than you were the day before. I mean, that simple, or some sort of simple step. Ben, what about you?
Yeah, well, mine's very clear and simple, actually. I'm doing a, you know, Phil and I run the Big Fat Challenge that we started just a year ago now. So this is year 2 now. And I decided that because I've been such a baby in the first year, that I'm going to do 90 days strict carnivore beef, lamb, salt, water. No carbs, no alcohol, no tobacco, no nothing, you know, just strict carnivore. And the reason is because I've never had to do it. I'm not one of these people that were forced to do it. We've got people on our group who, you know, if they have a slice of pizza, are going to suffer for it the next day. I've never been like that. So I've always had an excuse to just do it dirty, you know. And if I want a crate of beer, I'll drink a crate of beer, and, you know, whatever. If I want a pizza, I'll have 2 or whatever. Do you know what I mean? And but here's the thing. I want to know how good it's possible to feel when your body is completely clean, completely properly fueled, addiction bloody free, you know, complete, just all of it out of the way. So I'm doing 90 days. I'm on day 2 now, 88 to go. Wish me luck.
Good luck.
Yeah, go for it, Ben. Phil, what about yourself?
Well, yeah, the last year has been, you know, this next year will be a continuation of the last year, really, because as I've made quite, you know, open about things at the end of, where are we? Yes, at the end of 2022, I got really, really sick again and was totally crippled again. You know, for the first time in many years, I thought I was invincible. And I went on Anthony Chaffee's show. You can find it there, you know, a couple of times. Well, I talked about this, just how strict you have to be if you've got autoimmunity in your past. And, you know, I was eating pork, chicken, dairy and eggs here and there over the summer, and too much of it. And really, I got cocky. And I have to be strict beef, lamb, salt and water, really. Bit of fish, that, you know, a few oysters, that kind of thing. And I have to. And that episode last winter really knocked me out. I lost 45 pounds that I didn't need to lose. And, you know, I put back about a couple of stones. So I put back about 30 of it. And so that's fine, but it's done some damage and I've got a knee to work on. And that's really bothering me at the moment. It's not, the inflammation's out of it, but it did damage it. So lots of different things, even a couple of exercises that Stephen told me ages ago before that even happened. But working a lot on that, that's my physical goals, and just not eat any more even good carnivore food, which would be great and reverse somebody's diabetes or whatever, and fine for most people, but I can't take it. And a lot of people with autoimmunity can't. And apart from that, yeah, just train a lot more and build up some more muscle and get back to where I was. Apart from that, certain drumming goals. I've got a lot of practice to do on the drums, even though I've been playing 50 odd years. There's a lot of things that I'm seeing as holes in my playing, and that's kind of what excites me the most. I never really talk about that, but to get back on the drums, sometimes we forget about it. We get too busy, and you know it's too dark here. You can't see the drums behind me, but I have a practice kit there that I sit on with the headphones so I don't bother the neighbours, and just, you know, the stuff that I'm doing with Ben. We've got so many projects on the go. Ben is infuriating, you know. Ben has an idea every 5 minutes and sends me something on WhatsApp, and it's like, whoa, another one. And you know, about 1 in every 10 we get going on, and it's, well, maybe not even that, but he's amazing ideas guy, and I don't know what I'd do without him. You know, because I'm a lazy bugger. But yeah, that's me really. Yeah, just
Brilliant.
Stay strict and never have another episode like that. Watch out, children, if you've got autoimmunity. Don't be like me.
Well, you know what they say about rehearsing for drumming? There's repercussions. Anyway, right. Sorry about that.
Man.
Jonathan, are you well enough to give us your 2024 personal goals?
Yeah, well, I've got objectives. I put them out in my channel community tab recently. One is to be more carnivore, and one was to be more muscular. So, carnivore muscle, there we go. That's pretty much it.
Cool. Wow. Richard.
And there, I thought you were going to jump in with yours. Yeah, mine are pretty simple. I mean, my diet is pretty strict generally. I do still drink coffee occasionally, although considerably less than I used to. And it's not so much the caffeine, although that can cause issues. It's more to do with the acrylamide. But I think because that's accumulative, drinking it now and again isn't going to cause too much damage as long as you know your body. But that's one of my goals, reduce coffee. I generally eat beef and lamb daily. Eggs, I'm trying to reduce. I'm not telling people that eggs are bad for you, because they're not. Eggs are incredibly good, but it seems to be one of those foods that is causing me more issues lately. I think the longer that you've lived the lifestyle, the more tuned you become to your body and the more sensitive you become to foods. Chicken, my body doesn't tolerate well anymore. So I'm going down the Phil route, more beef and lamb, I think. But from an athletic perspective, I'm going to try to qualify for Team GB this year in duathlon. Obviously, coming from a bodybuilding background, running and cycling is something that is completely alien to me. But as you can see, I'm half the size that I used to be. So I am trying my best. Let's just hope all this muscle sacrifice isn't gone to waste. But that's my goals. And to educate and teach people as much as I can through collaborations with you guys. I'm hoping that through public speaking events and through things that we do together, that we can all spread the word and teach and educate others in the means of a truly healthy lifestyle. What about you, Steve?
Thank you for asking. I want to try and do a bit like Michael, really. I just want to try and do something every day that I'm proud of. Really that simple. You know, I want to go to bed at night and think, yeah, I'm proud of that. I'm glad I did that. Right. I thought that was a really nice mixed bag of answers there. I'm not going to zoom in on the people talking. I think we'll just keep the panel now. Phil D. Hi, guys. Is there any athletic performance potential from taking a low dose, less than 150 milligrams a day, of aspirin for older men? That's 50 plus. So, I mean, I'm 59, 60 this year. I think Michael tops me as the oldest person in the panel. Yes, potential medical complications noted, as well as not medical advice. Yeah, we don't give medical advice, but there's a question. Is there any potential performance benefit from taking a low dose aspirin?
Just no. I mean, just one quick thing. That's very unfair. I am the oldest person on the panel. So
are you? How old are you, Phil?
61.
Oh, right. I did not realize that.
61.
Well, this diet must be doing you wonders. Cool. Anyone want to answer the aspirin question?
I'll just quickly say it's probably got more net negatives than positives. It can rip holes in your stomach. If you've got intestinal permeability, that's going to be a massive problem. I'd avoid it personally, outside of obviously the contraindications that you've just mentioned. But what do you guys think?
Well, I think what you just hit the nail on the head with medications. You know, whenever they recommend that you do this with food, that isn't because it metabolizes better because of this food. That's to protect your stomach. Because most of these medications that say that, if you've got an empty stomach, are going to cause problems to your stomach. So that's the first thing I would say. If it says, and that's not medical advice, that's factual. If it says on the bottle, take with food, You got to say, why have I got to take it with food? And that would be your answer. But I'm not going to answer the specific one about aspirin because we'd get kicked off YouTube. So take that answer how you like. Anyone else? No? Okay. Richard?
Yeah. I don't think when we look at medication, I'm not against medication. Medication is there to save lives. It's there for occasions when we need a kick. If I hadn't taken medication in my life, I would be dead. But it doesn't mean that that's something we should be taking daily. I don't think medication is something we should be relying on, and I don't think it's something we should be taking for athletic performance. At the end of the day, it is a drug. As Jonathan says, it causes intestinal permeability. It'll cause issues with the liver and kidneys. It'll cause issues with blood pressure. It's not one for me. A friend of mine used to take it religiously. He ended up in hospital because of a number of reasons. But I did attribute one of those reasons to do with taking aspirin every day. But again, not medical advice, but I personally wouldn't go down that road.
I'm going to go to the next question.
On that, Stephen. I think, it's a COX-2 inhibitor, right? And it shuts down pathways that we need. And all these medications, like Richard says, that some of them can be used to save your life or in really dire situations. But as well as ripping the guts to bits, as somebody who's, taken it like 10 years ago, 12 years ago, whenever I was in proper pain, I'd do it to go out and for a night fishing or something just to be able to move. The body needs to have those processes of inflammation sometimes, and you need to go to the root cause of it. There is no such thing really as bad inflammation. And so when you're using it for that and it shuts down the pathway, I could feel when I was driving home, the pain coming back in again, a double, because the body had to kind of catch up. And I think messing about with any of those pathways, unless it's saving lives, is really dodgy for the system. There we go.
Yeah, if people want to look that up, LOX and COX pathways, COX, LOX, if you want to do that, then I think you'd be quite surprised. If from my phlebotomy side of things, neutrophils, white blood cells actually produce oxidants. I mean, that's how they work. All right, so even when we talk about oxidation, the immune system is brilliant because some of our neutrophils use it to improve things. So I think there's a lot of nuance with everything we talk about. Right. Okay. Loads of questions, and it's me being a rubbish host at the moment. Landers, it's me again, not being a pain. Well, that's your opinion, Landers. Maybe we think you are, but you're not. Of course you're not. It might be my take on it and totally wrong. But do you think the carnivore space seems to be hijacked by Weight Watchers? Does the panel promote weight loss or metabolic health? And Michael, you want to chime in first? It's up to you. Let's unmute you.
From what I see, I can't say that I've seen anything hijacked by sort of Weight Watchers or anything like that. It does seem to be the focus is on just that metabolic health, just being better mentally, physically. And if weight loss occurs because of it, that's like a benefit. But I think a lot of people it's all become, for some people, it's all become about, I've got to drop some pounds, and you see people that, I've been on the carnivore diet for 5 days, I haven't lost anything. I've been on it for 2 weeks, I haven't lost anything. And it seems to be from some of the stuff that I see, people just they add a bit more coal to to the fire. Because if you were to ask them, well, actually, but how do you feel? Oh, I'm sleeping better. Oh yeah, I feel a little bit less angry at the world. Well, my gut seems to feel a little bit better, but I haven't lost any weight. And and it's just that fixation that I think as a generation, people have now, about, losing weight, where for me, it's about, maintain, build muscle, and let everything from that work its way out. And it's not over 4 days. It's not over a week. It's not for, oh, I did dry January. It's not for 1 month. It's for an ongoing process, 1 day at a time, because it's all about the consistency over time. There's no fucking magic. So I'm sorry if I didn't mean to swear, but that's quite hard for me.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, I think the reason that's brilliant, Michael. I mean, literally this afternoon I did a coaching session and I had that actual sentence said to me. The person said, I am feeling so much better. My guts have settled down, but I'm just so fed up. I'm not losing any weight. This is 3 weeks into it. And he said, I've got less gas as well. I said, well, isn't that your body sort of saying to you, you're doing the right thing at last? And I agree with you. I think there is a misconception that we talk about Weight Watching, and maybe there are some carnivores out there that talk about sort of weight more than health. But I definitely think everybody on this screen, priority one is health. And I think most of us, in some way, I'm paraphrasing, all of us will say weight management or body composition is sort of like the side effect or the extra bonus. From my experience, I would just say most of the people I coach, a lot come because they want to lose a few pounds, but within maybe a month, they would all say, similar to what that guy said to me today, I can't believe how calm I feel. I'm sleeping so much better. My skin's great. I've got less gas. My toilet issues have gone. And then I say, hey, when you booked, if I just look on my notes here, you said you wanted to drop 10 pounds. You've not mentioned that. And it's interesting once that health starts to come, it almost is the thing they say last, or you have to prompt them. They go, oh yeah, my pants are a bit looser. Yeah, my shirts fit better or whatever. So I don't think it is Landis. I don't think that's certainly not in this group, and I don't think I see it that much. If it's all right with you guys, I'll go on to the next question because
can I do just a quick one, really quick one there?
Yeah,
Stephen. I would say not even metabolic health, but I like to focus on mitochondrial health. If people figure out what is actually making your mitochondria healthy, whether it's diet, whether it's sorting the light out, whether it's getting your feet on the ground outside, emotional balancing stuff. If you focus on everything that sorts the mitochondria out, if you've got healthy mitochondria, everything else is going to be good. So go to the root cause, the smallest part of everything. That's what I think.
Cool.
And one more thing, just on quick one on the point of
yes, Colombo. Yes,
watching weight. I threw away the scales. I don't use scales. I don't advise anyone to use the scales. Use a tape measure if you want, but the best measure is the mirror. Look in the mirror. If you like what you see, then you're going in the right direction. Because the point is you can add body muscle, you can add bone density, and your weight can stay exactly the same, even though body fat's melting away. So the scales are useless.
They are, absolutely. I'm on a carnivore diet, chicken, red meat and eggs now for 6 weeks. I eat 400 to 500 grams of meat, 6 to 7 eggs for dinner. My weight loss stalled. So as Michael was saying there, this is 6 weeks. Don't know what to do. I'm 1.83 meters at 84.5 kilograms, 20% body fat. I think to say you've stalled after 6 weeks is probably a bit early in the game, to be honest, because your body is, as Jonathan uses a beautiful term there, is very adaptive. And I would say virtually everybody that is doing what we just talked about, looking at the scale, it's never linear. It's not a line of straight down. That never happens. I've never seen that. It will be a drop off, maybe a little bit of a stall, as you call it, maybe even a bump up as your body adapts and you get used to eating this way. Then you might see a little drop off. And I've certainly had people complain to me about, well, you're not a good coach. So it was all great at the beginning, but now I've had 6 weeks of the same weight. And I'm like, yeah, okay. But do you feel better? And we go through all that sort of stuff. And then week 7, they apologize and say, oh, I just dropped another 4 pounds. So it's a long game. This is a lifestyle.
Can you just put the question back up?
Yeah, of course it can.
If you can.
Michael, yeah, fire away, mate.
Well, just from what I've seen from that question, a half of 400 grams of meat and 6-7 eggs doesn't sound actually a lot. I don't know what the guy's doing in terms of exercise and moving, etc. But it could be, as well as just like a natural store, it could be that you may not be eating. Okay, it may be that you're not eating it. You may not be eating enough. And if you don't eat enough, then the body's going to hold on to what it's got. I mean, it just doesn't seem to be, quite a lot that you're eating. You seem to be 183 tall, 83. So it may be that as well. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that
agree.
makes
I mean,
sense. Yeah.
Undereating is a problem. Yeah, absolutely.
He asked, this gentleman is a member of my channel, and he asked the same question to me and my friend Jerome last week. We came to the conclusion, without more information, it's either one of two things. It's either they need feeding up, like like Michael just said, so you need to feed up for a bit. It might be that you spend 2-3 days, 4 days a week just eating a more maintenance level food intake, say a pound or half of meat rather than a pound, whatever it is. The other instance might be that you're just someone that's very inactive other than the exercise that you do. You only need to eat less. Personally, I'd err on the side of caution, actually just eat a bit more for a few days, then see how you feel. If you feel more energetic, you sleep better, that's an indication you've downregulated your body to the state where it thinks, oh my God, I'm going to die. It's going to probably upregulate everything, so you got more energy, sleep better, just feel better overall, your gym performance goes up. So I'll be looking at a number of different facets, but they're the two things, or two levers I would look at pulling, but that'd be more based on individual consultation, I think.
That's magic. Marco is asking, when are Keto Pro supplements going to be available in America?
We can ship to America. We ship to a number of states already. We're adding the states as people are placing orders, Marco. But if you want to place an order, drop an email to the guys on info@keto-pro.co.uk. Give them a list of what you're looking for along with your address, and they will get a price for shipping for you. And we can add that then to the shipping costs moving forward. So whenever you make an order or place an order moving forward, that will already be preset. But shipping abroad is incredibly difficult when we look at duty and going down the delivery duty paid route and all of these things. It's not as easy as one would think, but products are available. Drop the guys an email and they'll get back to you. No problem.
Phil D is saying, by the way, Rich, your BHB and pre-workout are like rocket fuel. I have the best 10 days in my cycling career. Some best numbers were yesterday in Cat D crit race. 2 wins, 1 silver, 1 bronze. Result 2.
Fantastic. Brilliant stuff. Yeah, I did a consultation with Phil recently. I think Phil was the gentleman that mentioned the burning in the legs, and was it a lack of carbohydrate? So we touched base in regards to the BHB, which is exogenous ketones, and the pre-workout, which is just a blend of amino acids. And that's done the trick. So fantastic news. It's, fantastic. Brilliant. 1 silver, 2 wins, 1 silver and a bronze. Excellent stuff. Looking forward to catching up again soon.
Yeah, that's not bad, is it? And by the way, we're all available for coaching. So, but we're not here to flog the coaching. We're here to answer the questions. Let's have a go at the next thing here. Crystal. Question: I'm 139 pound, 5'6" female, 90% carnivore. My daily protein intake averages around 215 to 240 grams. I've tried higher fat and I enjoy the food, but I tend to gain. I'm currently taking in around 70 F. I tried the high fat. I wanted to go much stricter, virtually 99% carnivore, and lean out, not too much, as I'd like to get pregnant. I do train 4 to 5 days a week. It's a long question, by the way, but we'll get to the end of it. Do I have a chance to try higher fat again without gaining a bunch of weight? Could my body have changed?
I think I've spotted the the bottleneck here. In my opinion, you guys can feel free complete to disagree. It's completely fine. But her fat was very low, 70 grams of fat. I've personally never had any client, female, male, large or small, been on less than 100 grams of fat per day, ever. So it tells me that's a very low fat level, especially if you want to be pregnant and you're eating 240 grams of protein, somewhere in there. That is a lot of food.
That's a lot of protein.
That is a lot of protein for a lady. And I mean, I'm looking at my numbers now, so I keep data sheets of my clients' information about what they're eating roughly. And for a lady of that sort of weight, approximate body fat between 25 and 30, I'd guess. The highest I'd probably get is about 160 grams. And that's just based on trial and error and experience purely. And that's like the person that's training 5 days a week, they're physically active, they're doing a laborious job. So I'll probably actually look at just reducing the protein a bit, maybe 240, 220 to 200 every course of a few weeks. Just increase the fat slightly. You'll notice you'll start to sleep better. Your hormones will probably function a lot better in that regard as well. So you guys might have a different take, but I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
Michael?
No, I agree. I mean, the first thing that I saw was 215 to 240 grams of protein. I mean, that's, there's nothing wrong with having such a high protein diet, depending on the goals that you're working towards. But that seems a really big number when, if what's 139 pounds? What's that in kilos? 60 kilos.
63.
Give or take.
Yeah.
So if you said 3 grams per kilo, that's 180. That's 190. So I think you could come down quite a lot, and again increase the fat, good animal fat, because that's going to help with hormonally. That's what I would. But yeah, I think that's a lot of protein. If you're working out as an Olympian, full on, then it may be. But I think that's quite, and I think that's, like you said, that's the bottleneck.
I've just read, I'm going to put it up on the screen now. Sorry for interrupting, Stephen, but I have a very high appetite. I like a lot of food volume to keep me satiated. I used to be exactly the same. So my last contest prep I did using the carnivore diet, and I was eating 550 grams of protein per day. The lowest fat intake I got was 150, and I measured it meticulously. It wasn't like weighing it raw versus cooked, then miscalculating. I've been doing this for like 10 years now. But yeah, I still got into shape. But at that point in time, I didn't feel absolutely healthy like I do now. I feel much better now compared to back then. What I did was just got back to the amount of protein I actually needed and got the fat up. And I started to feel better as my fat was elevated, so I had more energy to train. But it's a transitional thing. I think a lot of people volume eat, particularly people that come from bodybuilding backgrounds. When I've been to these fitness exhibitions in the UK, they all sell junk food. You walk around, everyone is selling junk food, processed food, protein bars. I'm partial to one sometimes, but they're not proper food, guys. A lot of these times they're just like salad bowls and this bulk eating. It's not true satiety, and I know Richard probably said the same thing. It's not. There's a difference between feeling satiety between eating the nutrients that you need versus just filling your stomach up with stuff you don't need. And if that's 240 grams of protein, you're probably eating too lean. Probably choose ribeye over chicken breast, for example. So, yeah, definitely. I don't know. Maybe you guys have got something else to say, but it seems like a lot of protein.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think you guys are spot on. Protein, generally, I mean, we need 0.5 grams to prevent muscle wastage, 0.82 grams per pound in order to build. That's why we round the number up generally to 1 gram per pound. For females, it's around 0.9. So it's a lot of protein, even for a professional athlete. When I was bodybuilding and I went up to 300, 400, 500 grams of protein per day, there was no extra benefit conferred once I went over a specific threshold. I probably consume maybe 1 to 1.5 per day now. But yeah, I completely agree. I think protein needs to come down, fat needs to come up. And I would ask the question what the other 10% is. If 90% is carnivore, could it be a case that you're consuming any carbohydrates or foods that contain lectins potentially? anything that contains phytic acid, any other phytoalexins that could be blocking the body's ability to heal and repair, and negate the body's ability to absorb those nutrients. But yeah, completely agree.
Maybe
That's
even dairy as well could be an option, you know, for women, depending on age. You could try cutting out dairy for 4 weeks, see what difference that makes.
Yeah, dairy does tend to stall people. Now, the most important question I've ever seen on here from Carlston. Stephen, how much salt do you put in the water for your hairspray? Right. Now, this bottle is about the size of the hairspray that I make, which is just water and salt. That's it. And so this wonderful hairstyle that Jonathan's trying to copy at the moment is about a quarter teaspoon of salt, and that's it. And I used to spend money on sort of gels and all that rubbish, and there are so many products that you don't need to spend money on. It just a quarter teaspoon of salt in that much water and a couple of sprays, and your hair will stay like it does. So there you go. Right.
Is that enough to stop it icing up in the winter as well, Stephen?
Yeah, well, all the fleas never slip over. That's one of the things that's really good about it. No, I tell you, the biggest benefit is when I work out, you know, because I'm a ponce and I like my hair to be all right when I'm training. I'd sweat. Yeah, I used to sweat as well. And the gel would just be really irritating. So it's actually brilliant for working out and getting sweaty. So anyway, right.
I've never understood this hairstyle thing. I've never had one in my life. I mean, all I've done is like didn't have a haircut from 1979 till 2011 and had dreadlocks, or shave it off when it fell out due to my last bout of veganism. I don't understand this hairstyle business. Funny boys.
Dreadlocks is a rather extreme hairstyle, Phil, mate.
No, it's just completely left alone. No maintenance. I had them down to my knees.
Yeah, but a choice not to do something is still a choice. Anyway, we're not going to get into this. Angie says, hello, guys. I'm 90 days carnivore, down 35 pounds. Amazing. That's good. My husband is down 34 pounds. So you're beating him. That's good. 17-year-old son down 30. Well, you know what kids are like. They're rubbish, aren't they? Just wanted to say I'm loving all your accents, and we live in northwestern Wyoming, USA. That's great. So... yes, we have an accent apparently. Right. Right. I thought we was at the end of the questions and we could be a bit more relaxed and talk to Michael a bit and Ben and Phil about their event. But let's just do this. Spiritual hypertrophy. Hi guys, what's the absolute highest macros you've seen an athlete need, and in what context? It's a bit of an out there question. Does anyone want to answer that?
Highest what I'd like proportionally, or I mean, in terms of intake, Eddie Hall having, you know, when he was training for the World's Strongest Man, I went to an audience with Eddie Hall after he won it, and he was eating the most ridiculous amount of food just because he was doing so much ridiculous training and then recovery. But yeah, he got up to 35 stone, which in American money is 500 pounds ish. Yeah, but I don't think that's what the question is pertaining to. But yeah, it's not healthy.
No,
not healthy to eat that much anyway.
No, I don't. I mean, I trained someone for the Olympics, and they were a javelin thrower. And it's not about sort of a competition to get the most nutrients in. It's all about getting the appropriate level. You know, so possibly you wouldn't be looking at what's the most you've seen. Anyway, go on. Sorry, Jonathan.
Yeah, just quickly say the most I've ever seen a carnivore athlete eat is 450 protein and 550 fat. They're postmen, walking 30,000 steps a day, training 4 to 5 times per week, type 1 diabetic, and quite lean, not over fat, maybe 15% body fat. So that's the most I've personally seen.
Yeah, that's and how tall were they?
About 5'11", 6 foot.
Okay, that's cool. That's good for context. Scott, this is the last question, and then it's a little bit free form, so we can talk Michael, Phil, Ben. Quick question: 160 days in, mostly beef fatty, lots of stamina, but still got brain fog, anxiety, lots of possibly spots. I think that might be a typo, or nose especially, and other things. Any advice, please?
Anybody else want to jump in?
Oxalates?
Yeah, go on, Phil.
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, around that sort of time, sometimes people can start to dump some oxalates. I know it's blamed. So many things are blamed on it. But if there's sort of spots coming about, sort of suddenly, on something like that, I would say that's one possibility.
Yeah,
the body can release all sorts of toxins, and that could be one of them that's causing that.
And brain fog is a symptom of oxalate dumping.
Yeah, I agree. Electrolyte problem is when I look at clients who suffer with brain fog after being carnivore or ketogenic for so long, it's usually an electrolyte deficiency in regards to the sodium-potassium ratio. Salt in your meals is fantastic, but the issue with excess sodium is it depletes potassium. So you might want to look into an electrolyte supplement for now. In a citrate form, potassium citrate. Calcium is the one that people tout. But if any of you watched the podcast that Stephen and I did with Sally Kay Norton, we argued the fact that maybe calcium is not the best option. I believe potassium to be a better option. Excess calcium consumption can increase risk of cardiovascular disease by as much as 15%. Potassium citrate will do the job just as well. And you're also curing the issue of the low potassium because this excess sodium depletes potassium. So look for a quality electrolyte that has high potassium with as little calcium as possible. But the potassium needs to be a citrate.
And I would just sort of add, if you're getting at, if you're having anxiety, it could be because you've got you're not sleeping very well, and you may not been sleeping very well for a long time, and then you go carnivore, and you get that honeymoon effect of feeling better, but the same problems are still there, irrespective of the diet. So I would have a look at your sleeping, find out, are you sleeping through the mouth, are you sleeping through the nose? And then go from there. Maybe start implementing some breath work, some daily breath work, some simple daily breath work, 10 minutes. Practice nose breathing when you're doing that, and see if that makes. But anxiety could be from the diet you were on before, but years and years and years of other stuff going on. So. But a lot of anxiety is caused because of dysfunctional sleep.
Yeah, I agree. One other thing to add to that also is potentially coffee. If you are consuming coffee, the caffeine can alter the glutamate to GABA ratio and increase anxiety and cause lots of other issues within the body. So if you are drinking coffee consumption may be one to look at. It's also a known diuretic, which is also going to throw your electrolyte balance out of whack also. But yeah, lots of good advice for that, I think.
That's cool. We've done an hour. We've answered all the questions. Jonathan, brainchild behind all this. Would you like to wrap up? Would you like to talk to Phil and Ben a bit more about their event, or take us?
I want to just quickly highlight Michael and what he has to offer, his social platforms, anything that guys that are watching this right now can follow him on. So Michael, what is your Instagram and YouTube handle if you have one?
Instagram is Mason Survival. I don't really use my YouTube, although I perhaps should. I've got this streaming to it, but the big platform is my Instagram platform, Mason Survival.
Nice one. Thanks for sharing that, and also thank you for coming on today. It's nice to collaborate, and you'll be welcome. I'm sure the guests and the people watching this right now will be glad to know you're always welcome on here. And that's about it, I think. So if you want to follow us,
can I
Yeah,
add
sure.
something? By the way, just a couple, just something I want to just say about the Carnivore Experience app, which I set up. For those that have tried to download it on Apple or Google, you have to get round Apple and Google's rules. So if you want to do free access, you've got free access to it. So you just download it and then click on the Learn button at the bottom, and you get free access to the Carnivore Experience app. The way Google and Apple work is they want you to do the paid things. So you just have to navigate to the bottom. All right. It's not me that does that. All right. You literally, I'm not a developer. I'm not particularly great with tech. It's taken me a year to get the app how I want it. It's nice that 2,000 people have been testing it for me, which I am gobsmacked at. I'm absolutely gobsmacked at. So I want to thank those people that have all volunteered to be frustrated. And this is a segue into Phil and Ben, to be honest. It's very interesting how the big companies dictate what you want to do, right? Because I wanted to just do a free app, and that is very difficult to do because the only two people that will really get an app out there are Google and Apple, and they want some money from it. So, and they want a big chunk. All right. So that's how you get around it. All right. You download the app and you just click on Learn at the bottom, and you will get free access to it. There is paid for material in there, which they want you to do, but you'll get a lot for free. So, yeah. Can we just quickly recap Phil and Ben's what they did at the beginning? Just get people to come to their event.
Yeah, so Phil and Ben's event, I'm just going to put it on the screen again, the link for you guys. If you can find it, there we go. It is the War on Health. That is the conference that's happening. I believe it is it January the 17th? Correct me if I'm wrong.
January 20th, Saturday.
20th. January the 20th, Saturday. It's up north to me somewhere. And this is just the page links. It's the bigfatchallenge.com/events. You'll find it on that page there. I recommend going to this sort of thing. You'll have a lot of useful content, lots of great speakers on there, including Ben, Phil, and a few other people that I'm sure you guys have already heard of. Zoe Harcum, for example, she'll be on it.
No.
Not Zoe Harcum.
Zoe's not
The other
there.
one. Who is it?
Campbell McBride.
Natasha Campbell McBride. Yes, one.
Yeah.
And who else? You have to remind me.
Sarah Pugh and Rachel Brown and Ahmed Malik. And if you put in the code GB Carnivore, all in caps, all one word, if someone could type that into the chat so we can check you've got it, you get £30 off. So it's normally £147, you get it for £170. And there's carnivore food. So it's GB Carnivore, all one word, all in big letters.
Nice one.
There
I
you
think
go.
this is the one here. There we go.
That's
So that
it.
gets you money off the event, which I highly recommend people go to and check out.
Be lovely to meet you.
Excellent. I'll wrap it up here, guys. Thank you all for joining tonight. Apologies for your questions have not yet been answered. Leave them for next week. Thanks again to the guest, Michael, on our channels. Nice to meet you all, and I'll see you guys soon. Cheers.